main thing we did was we'd hang out in the drugstore, the one big drugstore in Chapel Hill, the one drugstore, and compare notes. Somebody might have gotten a letter, and somebody knew somebody who'd gotten a letter.
The long-expected Anglo-American invasion appears to have begun.
We listened to the news at night, and it was, you know, during the time of the invasion, it was scary, because we didn't know how that was going to turn out.
News from the European theater was especially important for Marie Colton, who had married her husband Henry just before he was shipped overseas.
What was so hard was you didn't know whether they would come back, ever, if they would come back in a basket. My mother cautioned me about getting married when she accompanied me to Jacksonville on that trip. She said, I think you ought to wait. Just let him go to war and then come back. And said, suppose he comes back a lifetime invalid. Where would you be? But while I was there, we decided to let's go ahead and get married on the spot. So we did. That was the worst day of my life. When he left to go overseas.
She knew I was going overseas, and she said, I want us to be married before you go. I want to tie you before you go.
Falls Price of Cleveland County was assigned to the Army's 56th General Hospital. Martha McCrary was in the waves. They tied the knot in 1941.
I was in agreement with her, fully agreement with her. I'd been crazy about her for all these years. I was thrilled that she'd take me at that hour. Shipped me out right about the third day after I was married. Sent me to England.
While back in the States for training, Bill Farabee of Mocksville, a Navy plane captain and gunner, married his high school sweetheart.
Well, we had been courting since we were juniors in high school. We got married in February 1945. And it looked like at the time we was going to have to invade Japan. It looked like the war was going to last forever, looked at that time. So I wired her and asked her if she'd like to go ahead and get married, and she agreed. We got a 9-day embarkation leave before we were going to the Philippines. So I had to take a troop train from San Francisco all the way across the states in that 9 days. We got married up here at Center Church, went to the Robert E. Lee Hotel and spent one night. Come back, and I wired the engineering officer and asked for a 5-day extension, and he granted it.
Bad weather delayed Farabee's trip back to California.
When I got back to San Francisco, I was AWOL because I was a little late. They quarantined me to the barracks for 2 weeks for being late. It sounds like a foolish thing, but we were in love.